Hi there viewers, and welcome to Get Well Stay Well on Revelation TV. My name is Cyrus, and once again delighted to be joined by Felicity. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Cy. I hope they like the new intro.
Yes, well, we've just showed the intro for the first time that we had a lovely recording there on the beach. That was good fun.
It was a bit windy, wasn't it?
It was. It looks like we were going to get taken off there in the wind.
Anyway, it's a bit calmer in here today, and we're going to do some really good stuff on the food choices today. So that should be quite an interesting program.
I think this program that we have today for our viewers is going to basically cover all the types of viewers that we have out there, isn't it?
I think so, yes. And we start off with people who've been raw for 4 years and the tremendous benefits they've had. They were not particularly well before. In fact, they will go into their problems, their health problems. And after 4 years on the raw vegan diet, they look absolutely amazing, really fit. And so, you know, and I find it works really, really well.
Just to reiterate to our viewers, if you may, why is it important that we eat the right foods?
Well, we have to go back to God's foods in Genesis 1:29 and 30, and they really are the living foods without labels on, as Dr. Heyman will be talking about. They're the foods that are not processed, not chemical. They really are out of the ground, the carrots, the onions, and the lovely fruits that hang on the trees. And when we have those foods, they have all the right enzymes in there naturally, and they're perfect for our digestion. So it makes a huge difference. And then we can supplement with a little cooked food as well if we need to. But it's a bit of a process, and these people had been on the raw journey, I would say, for 4 years. Some people have to do it very quickly, like I did when I was ill. So I had to completely alter my life very, very quickly and got well radically. So I think if people are ill, they have to be radical. And if people are just doing it for more energy and to feel a little bit better, then they can ease into it.
Now, you mentioned cooked foods. I just want to get your thoughts on cooked foods, because we've mentioned in our program that ideally we shouldn't be cooking our foods.
Well, when we cook food over 105 degrees, it loses the living enzymes. But we've been so used to cooking our food now for thousands of years that people really feel, to begin with, that they must have some cooked food. So what I do is tell them to cook God's foods, which are, say, the potatoes, do mashed potatoes, not chips, of course, or fried foods, but, you know, have the onions cooked, having the garlic, maybe rice, brown rice, and but try and stick with the real foods and not what I call PHUD, that kind of chemical food.
Talk to me about the raw diet. Why is it important for us to be eating the raw diet?
Well, it's because of the living enzymes feeding the cells. You know, we are trillions of cells that need oxygen, they need nitrogen, they need hydrogen, and they need the electricity, which is in the fresh fruits and vegetables. So when we've cooked our food, processed it, or it's chemical food, obviously we're not going to get all those essential constituents in the food. So we're filling ourselves up, we feel full, but we're not actually nourishing the body. So our cells degenerate, organs degenerate, and we eventually become ill. Whereas if we start eating the raw fruits and vegetables, we make new cells, new stem cells. As the old cells die off, new cells are formed all the time. We're in a continuous process of regeneration. So we either make a younger body or an older body according to what we eat and drink.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our first clip that we have for today. And this one is called "What Happens After 4+ Years of Eating a Raw Diet?" Okay, just as they're going to prepare that clip. So the clip that we're going to watch is what happens after 4+ years. Now, what are the concerns of eating raw diet?
Well, this couple have made it quite an interesting journey, actually. They've traveled the world for the 4 years, and they have tried all the different raw fruits and vegetables in different parts of the world. So they've been making these films, and it's worked out really quite well for them. And it's really interesting for us. athletes. You know, they run, she does marathons, and they've both transformed themselves, and also they've traveled around the world. And it's really interesting. I taught the Get Well, Stay Well course on a world cruise once. This is a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago. And it was so interesting. Everywhere we stopped, literally all the way around the world, I would ask the tour guides, you know, what is the special foods that you have from this part of the world, and how do you use them for medicinal purposes? Really interesting.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our clip now. So this is what happens after eating a raw diet 4+ years later. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, it's Corbin-Wheeler here from Rawsome Healthy.
Hello everyone.
Okay, so over 4 years now, for over 4 years, we've been living on a low-fat raw vegan diet consisting primarily of fruits and soft leafy greens. What's happened to us?
Exactly, what happened to us? Did this diet make us protein deficient? Did we lose our teeth? Did we lose our hair? Did we become sugar overdosed? Did we lose our fitness abilities? Did we lose all of our muscles? What happened to us? After 4 years on a low-fat raw vegan diet, well, it is time to reveal in this video. Well, they say a picture says 1,000 words, so let's have a look. This is us, back on a meat, junk food diet. We drank alcohol, we partied all night long, I smoked sometimes, and we didn't lead a healthy lifestyle. So that's us. So that's us just a week ago. So over 4 years into the 8-10-10 low-fat, high-fruit, raw vegan diet. That's us competing in races and enjoying ourselves. That's us, you know, that's the same people. Okay, so we switched to this diet back in mid-2009 because I was going through a real health crisis and my health was declining. I really was desperate to find a solution to make myself feel better, to stop suffering, to stop all the pain that I was going through. And I tried so many different approaches. I don't know what I didn't try. I tried various detoxes. I tried colonics. I tried juice fasting. I tried different diets, many different diets. I saw many practitioners. I saw homeopaths. I saw acupuncturists. I saw energy healers. I was doing meditation. I was doing all sorts of things that I thought could help me. I even tried urine therapy. I tried everything under the sun, all sorts of supplements, all sorts of solutions, herbal mixes, this and that and the other. However, my health was still on the decline. My weight was constantly up and down. I was not feeling happy. Emotionally, I was up and down. I was on the verge of type 2 diabetes. So I had hypoglycemia. I was really on the verge of type 2 diabetes. I couldn't even eat one banana. It would go straight into my head. I would have to lie down. Paul knows.
Yeah.
You witnessed it all.
You're in a real mess.
I was.
You really were, yeah.
Yes, I was. Bless me. Oh, well, I thought I was doing. I thought I was doing the best I could. I had candida. I had depression. I really was in a dark place. I had digestive issues. I had hormonal issues. I had liver issues. I had pretty much, I don't know what I didn't have.
What did you have?
I had severe food cravings. Every 2 hours I would just crave food. I would have to eat and eat all over time. By then we excluded gluten, we stopped fried foods. We were eating lots of vegetables in our diet. We were eating a vegan diet by then, cooked vegan diet. Prior to that it was a vegetarian diet, but we excluded processed food, and it's like, well, what can I do? What's wrong here?
So for myself, I was also experiencing health issues. Not as grand as Julia's, but I was getting headaches. Usually everybody gets headaches, don't they? You know, supposedly it's a normal thing to get headaches. Again, and I was also experiencing hemorrhoids, which was really painful, really unpleasant. So when we decided to, give this diet a go, 80-10-10, low-fat raw vegan, switch to it, the change was really dramatic. It was almost instantaneous. It really was, wasn't it?
Yes, things started happening for us.
Almost straight away, within days, literally, it was that fast. And it's had a positive effect on every aspect of our lives.
Yes, totally.
Without doubt, even our own relationship together is affected in a positive way. So it's really been a blessing in our lives completely.
Hi there, viewers. Welcome back. So just as they mentioned on the clip there, when people think about doing the raw diet, so they think, are my teeth going to fall out? Am I going to lose my hair? Am I going to have a sugar overdose or lose my fitness and lose my muscle? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, people's teeth fall out because they have too much sugar. So they're not going to do that on the fruit sugar and the good sugars. You know, we have the good and the bad with the fruit, with all the different salts, fats. You know, there's always good and bad choices to make. So actually, from the sugar point of view, if you stick with the fruit sugar, it's so much better for us than the sucrose, which is the sugar that we buy in the shops, and that all our processed food is actually added. It's all added with sugar. The food manufacturers pay people an enormous amount of money to make us addicted to the bad fats and sugars and salts. So, you know, crisps are all very salty. And the whole idea is that you go in and you have a crisp and then you want to drink more if you're in a bar, because, you know, they deliberately make it salty so that you're thirsty. And of course it's the wrong salt, but if you have a little bit of Himalayan salt and the natural salts in the vegetables, then that's absolutely fine. And the hair really gets lustrous when you start using the wheatgrass. Yep. And all the fresh vegetables. If you're 80% raw, with fruits and vegetables, and then you do the rest. You can have a little bit of cooked food, you can have the seeds, the nuts obviously, and the green plant. But I'm a great believer, as you know, in the wheatgrass, which is really good for us. I
was going to ask you, what would you recommend to our viewers is the best way of eating or juicing wheatgrass? What would you recommend?
Well, the juicing is absolutely wonderful, because if you can grow your own wheatgrass, as I'm growing at home, you get 11 inches of beautiful green wheatgrass in 11 days if it's sunny. And then you juice that, and it's really like having a blood transfusion when you drink this fresh green juice. Of course, not everyone can grow it, so they have powdered and they have frozen wheatgrass as well. But there's nothing like the real thing. And when we were at Hippocrates Health Institute training, in the morning, you know, we'd go and get our own wheatgrass and juice it, and we did that for 4 or 5 months, so we really got used to doing the whole thing. And you can, once you've actually harvested it, you know, you cut it all when the tray is grown, so you harvest it, you can put it in green bags, keep it in the fridge, and that will keep you going for a week. And immediately you harvest one lot, you start growing the next, obviously. But it's a wonderful way of getting people well.
No, you mentioned you would have it for 4 or 5 months. Is it after you've cured yourself, shall we say, or after your health has improved, can you maintain and continue to stay on the wheatgrass?
Oh yes, I mean, it's something you do for the rest of your life. When I said 4 to 5 months, that's just when I was in America training. But no, I mean, you're learning really a new lifestyle. And people who've got cancer and diabetes and heart disease, all kinds of digestive problems, they go to Hippocrates, and all you're given literally is the wheatgrass, the green juices, which is cucumber, and the green sprouts, you know, the sprouted buckwheat and sunflower, and salads, and that is all you have for the time that you're at Hippocrates. People can go for 1 week or 2 or 3, which is the Life Change program, and if you're going to become an educator, you go for a longer period, of course.
Let me ask you, what recommendations would you give to maybe our viewers out there who may be having eating problems? It's on the other side. They don't want to lose weight, or they don't want to improve their fitness, shall we say, but they have problems actually digesting or eating food. What would you recommend? Well,
you see, a lot of us do have problems digesting food now, because with stress, that's altered the intestinal gut, and we literally cannot really digest a lot of this stuff. So this is why we juice it, because when you juice something, you're actually pre-digesting it. It's being chewed up by the machine, and so we're then drinking it in a very digestible form. So if people are very ill, as I was, and a lot of people are when they get to the juicing, it is the one thing that will feed you very, very easily without exhausting the body trying to digest heavy meals. You know, we want to keep right away from animal protein, for instance. And, you know, I find it now quite sickening to look at animal protein on my plate, you know, and think what this animal's been through to actually be on my dinner plate. And so for ethical reasons, for altruistic reasons, for compassion reasons, you know, and health reasons, I really don't particularly want to eat any meat, chicken or fish. And maybe once a month I'll have a fish down here because it's lovely and fresh. But I can live without it very happily.
And how is our mind affected from what we're eating?
Oh, we feel amazing once you get on this energy food. You know, it really does affect the mind. It really lifts the spirits. You feel so much better, and I think that that's, you know, a psychological thing as well, because when you think what the animals have been through to provide our food, that's not going to make you feel very happy, and the dead heavy food will make you feel dead and heavy.
Mm.
Yeah.
So eating the raw diet can also help with with headaches, with flus, liver problems, diabetes.
Well, yes, you see, it builds the immune system, and the reason you don't get the coughs and colds is your immune system is stronger. You know, one person sneezes in the lift and 9 don't get the cold, but 1 does. And that one person will actually have a low immune system at that time. Maybe they've had sugar for breakfast, because sugar completely knocks out our immune system for 4 hours. People don't really realize this. Nobody's taught them that. But it's true. So if we're having, say, coffee and a donut for breakfast, you know, and then another sweet thing for lunch, and maybe a hot chocolate in the evening, you know, with sugar. Of course, we're knocking our immune system out for the whole day. So if you want to have a strong immune system, you want to get on the raw living foods.
Okay, let's take a look at our next clip. This is about experiencing your new life and detoxing your body.
So 4 years into a high fruit and low fat raw vegan lifestyle, mainly fruits and vegetables, green leafy vegetables, we are really experiencing a completely different level of health and completely different life. It seems that for the last 4 years we've been creating a platform for this new life to emerge from within us, and it is something that we have not ever felt previously, and it is just so incredible to feel it this way. That it's incredible to know that your body has done a lot of detoxification, a lot of cleansing, a lot of repair work to reverse the past diseases and allow you to experience a different level of health and fitness.
It's incredible to know that your body can actually feel this good.
Yes.
Because you never experienced it before.
Yes,
You think,
to
wow,
tap into
is this
it
possible?
And how healthy can I be? How good can I feel?
I can feel better than I've ever felt. It's incredible to just know that, let alone experience it.
Yes, and I've never been athletic. I was quite active in the past. Paul was relatively active in the past.
Moderately.
This year has been such a huge year for us. In the past, before coming to this lifestyle, I was struggling to get out of bed. Paul was witnessing it all. He would come back from work in the evening, I would be in bed, and
or
I would
just
be just
getting
weak
out of bed
and depressed and really just not feeling good at all.
You're in a bad way.
Now, this year, we've been building a level of fitness. This year, Paul has been able to complete his first ultramarathon, 50 kilometer distance. I was able to complete 44.4 kilometer race. I was able to complete my first triathlon, and we've done several races, several sports events, and we're just so passionate about fitness. It's like
fun.
It's so fantastic.
It's fun. It's not work. It's fun. We just love doing it.
Yes, and I must say, I absolutely love feeling fit, slim, and sexy. It gives me all the self-confidence. Paul loves me more for that. I mean, you love me anyway, but
I love you anyway, but even more.
Like, oh, it's like, yeah. So it's just amazing. It really is amazing, and I love helping other people to get from where they are to where they can be, because I've been there myself, and you know, I've gone through this experience. I've gained a lot of knowledge with qualified nutrition and lifestyle coaches, and it's our greatest passion to be witnessing other people change and
Absolutely.
to be witnessing this life emerging in them. It's just so fantastic.
It really gives us a bit. Every time we get, an email from someone saying that we really helped them, just a video.
Experience changes, our life's changing, and my
incredible.
family is now wanting to do it, my friends are now wanting to do it. And it's like the whole world is changing as a result of just one person changing. Another great thing to know is that not only we are feeling good today, we're also creating a bright future for ourselves. We're not creating a future where we're going to be experiencing the diseases that are faced by the people living in a modern society, like cancer, obesity, diabetes, depression, and all the major diseases that people face, or the struggle, or the pain. They live their life, they think they can have as much fun as they want, then they get to a certain age, bang, diagnosis, bang, cancer. And all of a sudden they, oh my God, I've got to do something. And we feel so grateful that we are aware here and now, and we're creating a conscious future.
Do you know there are literally thousands upon thousands of people around the world now, right now, benefiting from a low-fat, raw vegan diet, overcoming diseases, detoxing, gaining their natural weight.
So why not jump on board? There is so much information out there that is there to support people. You've got forums, you've got festivals, you've got different networks, you've got different groups. We've got an abundance, a wealth of information on our website, from different free courses to recipes to books to products. You're really welcome to explore it at www.rawesomehealthy.com. We love sharing this information with you guys. And that's it. This is where we are 4 years into this lifestyle. Not to mention that we have traveled the world. This diet pushed us out of our comfort zone and said, go and see the world, explore different food, taste the sweetness of life. So we've visited so many different locations around the world. It really made us into different people.
It really has, yeah.
So, in order to be healthy and be fit, what do you need to do? You've got to eat sweet.
Eat sweet.
Yes, you've got to eat sweet. You've got to be fit. And post your comments below. What have your experiences been on this lifestyle? And what is it that you would like to achieve? Perhaps you are thinking of joining this lifestyle. What is it that you want to achieve for yourself? Post the comments below. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
We love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Hi there, welcome back. So it's just about experiencing a new life, isn't it, Felicity?
Absolutely. It's like being born again. It's absolutely wonderful. And I'm going to London on Saturday, the 19th of July. I'm going to do a Get Well, Stay Well Day in London.
Oh, how exciting.
Because so many people have written and said, we can't come to Jersey, we can't come to Spain. Why can't you come to England?
Fantastic.
So at long last, and I'm a member at the Royal Society of Medicine. So I'm going to take a room there. And it's going to be great fun to meet as many people as we can. We've got quite a few coming already.
Revelation TV constantly has new viewers to our programme. Maybe they've never seen our programme before. Just give a very brief oversight into who is Felicity Corbin-Wheeler and what is our programme about? Well,
we like to bring you the best of health, God's way, which is based on Genesis 1:29 and 30. So it's great fun. We've been doing these programs now for about 2 years on and off, haven't we? And really I'm explaining how people can live on this raw diet that God has ordained for us in Genesis 1:29 and 30, which includes the wheatgrass, the green plant, and how people get well. So I have trained in America and around the world. I've been doing this for about 25 years now. I'm really, really passionate about it because I know that people get well and stay well when they get on this. So it's a very balanced thing. It's integrated health. So we put together the best of orthodox. I always have the backup of the top doctors around the world, like Dr. Mark Heyman, who we're just going to introduce. And I think it's really important that we work together with the brightest and best of the doctors. I've just been in America at the Integrated Health Cure to Cancer Conference in San Diego, which was absolutely fascinating, with literally the best in the world there. So people in London want to know what was said, and they also want to know about these patches that I'm talking about, the patches that don't involve any drugs, they don't involve any needles. It's a new revolutionary thing where you just put these little patches on for curing pain, which is really interesting from my point of view, having been in absolute agony myself when I had cancer. So it's for pain, it's for insomnia. It was developed, interestingly, for the Special Forces in America, in San Diego, where the Navy SEALs are trained. Right. And it was developed really for them. It's a kind of way that we get the body we stimulate the body to make its own correct hormones and chemicals, which will take away pain. I mean, it's incredible how it works, without any drugs, without any injections. Okay. So very exciting.
Going back to the clip that we've just watched, just explain to our viewers why it's important for us to detox our body.
Well, we've all become very toxic with stress, with eating, drinking and thinking the wrong things. You know, the sugary drinks that we're all having, even little children are having the sugary drinks. The baby's formula is now made with sweetened, so that from a very, very young age, children are getting used to a lot of sweetness, much more than they would normally have had, say, even 50 years ago. And so we have become addicted to the wrong foods, and witness the size of the people who are getting bigger and bigger. You know, when I started going to America many years ago, I was shocked to see how big the people were. You walk through a London street now or anywhere else in the world, and this obesity problem is definitely taking over. And so we now have an epidemic of diabetes and pre-diabetes, because anyone whose waist is more than 30 inches for a woman, 35 inches for a man, is actually pre-diabetic. So it has an effect on the heart, it has an effect on the kidneys, on the liver. You know, it really is making us sick, and what we have to do now is really address the problem, address the cause of the disease, instead of developing a lot of new drugs and medicines which will maybe act like a band-aid and quieten things down, like steroids. Calm down inflammation, but we should stop making the inflammation in the first place.
If we look after what we're eating and we eat the right foods, we can prevent cancer, diabetes, depression. We can and basically take control of your future.
That's absolutely right. These what we call chronic degenerative diseases are caused by our lifestyle. And so all the research has been done. We know that it's the lifestyle that's doing it. And what we have to do really is, you know, get that back to basics and address the cause of the disease so that we don't make more of these problems.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our next clip. This is talking why we need to avoid dairy by Mark Hyman.
Milk doesn't reduce bone fractures. Contrary to popular belief, eating dairy has never been shown to reduce fracture risk, but dairy may actually increase the risk of fractures by 50%, according to the Large Nurses' Health Study. Less dairy equals better bones. Countries with the lowest rates of dairy and calcium consumption, like those in Africa and Asia, have the lowest rates of osteoporosis. Next thing is that calcium isn't as bone protective as we thought. Studies of calcium supplementation have shown no benefit in reducing fracture risk. Vitamin D, on the other hand, appears to be much more important than calcium in preventing fractures. Also, calcium may raise cancer risk. Research shows that higher intakes of both calcium and dairy products may increase a man's risk of prostate cancer by 30 to 50%. Plus, dairy consumption increases the body's level of insulin-like growth factor 1, a known cancer promoter. Calcium has benefits that dairy doesn't. Calcium supplements, but not dairy products, may reduce the risk of colon cancer. And another problem with dairy is that not everyone can stomach dairy. About 75%, or 3/4 of the world's population, is genetically unable to properly digest milk and other dairy products, a problem called lactose intolerance. So based on such findings, Dr. Walter Willett has come to some important conclusions. 1, everybody needs calcium, but probably not as much as our government's recommended daily allowance of 1,500 milligrams a day. 2, calcium probably doesn't prevent broken bones. Few people in this country are likely to reduce their fracture risk by getting more calcium. 3, men may not want to take calcium supplements. Supplements of calcium and vitamin D may be reasonable for women. And 4, dairy may be unhealthy. Advocating dairy consumption may have negative effects on health. Now, this is from Dr. Walter Willett, not me, so you should think about your next glass of milk. If all of that isn't enough to swear you off milk, there are a few other scientific findings worth noting. First, the Federal Trade Commission recently asked the USDA to look into the scientific basis of claims made in their milk mustache ads. The panel of scientists stated the truth clearly. Number 1, milk doesn't benefit sports performance. Number 2, there's no evidence that dairy is good for your bones and prevents osteoporosis. In fact, the animal protein in it may actually help cause bone loss. Number 3, dairy is linked to prostate cancer. Number 4, it's full of saturated fat and it's linked to heart disease. Number 5, dairy causes digestive problems for 75% of people with lactose intolerance. And number 6, dairy aggravates irritable bowel syndrome. Simply put, the FTC asked the dairy industry, got proof? And the answer was no. Plus, the dairy may contribute to even more health problems like allergies, sinus issues, ear infections, type 1 diabetes, chronic constipation, and anemia in children. But what about raw milk? Well, isn't that a healthier form of dairy? Well, not really. Yes, raw, whole, organic milk eliminates some of the concerns, like pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, and the effects of homogenization and pasteurization. But to me, these benefits don't outweigh dairy's potential risks. From an evolutionary point of view, milk is a strange food for humans. Until 10,000 years ago, we didn't domesticate animals, and we weren't able to drink milk unless some brave hunter-gatherer milked a wild tiger or a buffalo. Now, most scientists agree that it's better for us to get calcium, potassium, protein, and fats from other sources, like whole plant foods, vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and seaweed. Great source of minerals. Convinced yet? Well, here's my advice for dealing with dairy. If you want healthy bones, take vitamin D. Don't rely on dairy. Get your calcium from dark green leafy vegetables, sesame, tahini, sea vegetables, or sardines, or salmon with the bones in it. And try giving up all dairy, everything, and see how you feel after a few weeks. And if you can tolerate dairy, use only raw organic dairy products, preferably fermented products like yogurt or kefir. Still got milk? I hope not. Remember, dairy is not crucial for good health. I encourage you to go dairy-free and see what it does for you.
Hi viewers, welcome back. It's funny because when we were growing up, we were all taught that dairy helps us with our bones and everything, and it does the complete opposite, doesn't it?
Especially in Jersey, where we have the Jersey cow. So I brought Dr. Brian Clement over from America to Jersey to break the news because they didn't want to hear it from me. But so many people were dying of cancer caused by the milk. And it was interesting, he said that milk and dairy is probably the greatest cause of cancer in the whole world. So there we go. I know that this is right scientifically, and it's only when you get trained scientifically on the nutrition that you realize what lies and disinformation we have been fed. And of course the milk in biblical times, you know, the curds that John Campbell mentioned yesterday on the program, you know, completely different, like the wheat was different in those days as well. What has happened, we have really changed and messed around and manipulated with food so that it's no longer the natural food, and this is why we really have to go back to the fruits and the vegetables, the seeds, the nuts and the green plant to actually get the nutrition we need. And of course, in addition to that, the soil has become deficient as well, and people are now genetically modifying food. So we're really living in a perfect storm, and people really have to become educated. And I'm thrilled to be able to do this on TV because we just haven't been taught this information before.
Like it was mentioned on the video, 75% of the population have problems digesting milk.
Absolutely, yes.
And cancer, and the more calcium that you have can lead to cancer.
Yes, and also lead to osteoporosis, because when we have dairy, it's acid once it's in the body. Once we digest it, it becomes acid, and then the body has to draw calcium from our bones, and that's the main area that it can draw calcium from, so of course it draws it from the bones, and that's why we get holes in our bones, which is osteoporosis. Also holes in our teeth, Our teeth are the bones that we can see. So that's a good indication when you're getting a lot of holes in teeth that in fact you're getting holes in your bones as well. So it's really important because so many older people get osteoporosis, you know, fall and fracture a hip with awful consequences. So it's really important to get the calcium from the green leafy vegetables.
What are your recommendations for children and for new mothers who are breastfeeding, shall we say?
Well, obviously you breastfeed for as long as you can, and then you move on to things like avocado, pears, bananas, mashed up, and you can make banana milk for children, which my grandchildren love. So it's a natural milk. You just literally peel the banana, put it in the blender with some water, and make a lovely white liquid that looks like milk, but it tastes much nicer than the fatty milk. And of course you can flavor that with fruit as well. So the children really love that. Make strawberry banana milk, apricot banana milk, pineapple banana milk. There's all kinds of lovely things you can put together. And there's nut milks as well. So there's almond milk, and really people can experiment with all these things.
Now we're going to go to our next clip now, showing about the fruits and the vegetables, and it's also about the Daniel diet. What is the Daniel diet?
Well, if we look in the Bible, we see the Daniel diet in Daniel 1, where the king wanted the young men to be put on the rich food in the palace, and Daniel and his compatriots said no, they were not going to do that. They were going to stick with their plain vegetable food, and lo and behold, after a week they were tested and they were fitter than the men who'd been on the rich diet. So, you know, it's repeated in the Bible. The Bible's a wonderful book because we get this, you know, these wonderful truths coming through right the way from start to finish.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our next clip. This is by Mark Hyman and Tana Amon, and they're talking about the right foods that we should and shouldn't be eating. Let's take a look.
All right, here we are with some amazing foods, which actually are amazing for one reason, which is they're grown on a plant, not made in a plant.
Imagine
right?
that.
Imagine that. And also, they meet one of my favorite rules of eating, which is it doesn't have a label. What is this? It's an avocado. You don't need an ingredient list on an avocado, right? Avocados are a great source of fats, monounsaturated fats. Tana loves them. They're also incredibly rich in protein, and they're full of fiber.
That's right.
They're very satisfying. They're creamy, and you can put them in smoothies. You can do all sorts of things. What do you do with them?
I want to make a side note on this. A lot of you are thinking, oh, they're fattening. Fat does not make you fat. The wrong fats make you fat, and fat with sugar makes you fat. It's the sugar that makes you fat. So the fat does not make you fat if it's healthy fat.
That's right. You know, that's really important. You know, I think we all are. Fat makes you fat. It makes you gain weight, and it's kind of a myth. In fact, we know that from all the studies that have been done, that people who eat fat doesn't translate into being fat. What we do know, though, is certain fats, like trans fats or shortening, which I say is called shortening because it shortens your life, actually does cause problems with metabolism and can make you fat. So eating the wrong fats make you fat. Eating the right fats, which is nuts and seeds and avocados and olive oil and fish oils, these actually make you thin and healthy.
Unless you combine your fat with sugar and salt. That's a different story.
Now, what else we got here? We got garlic. I love garlic.
Absolutely.
You gotta love garlic, right?
Especially with avocados.
And you know, if you're really lazy, sometimes like I am, they actually have garlic in these little chopped up, pre-chopped up garlic things, which is fantastic. Or you can crush and peel your own garlic. Now, why is garlic good? Because it makes food taste good, right? And what else does it do? You know what else it does?
Well, I know that it's just great for your immune system. It kills lots of icky bugs.
Right, so this is like medicine.
It absolutely is.
It tastes good on food. It's great in salad dressings. It's great in stir fries, but it's actually healing.
Absolutely.
It's anti-inflammatory. It helps lower cholesterol. It helps to boost your immune system. It helps to thin your blood and prevent heart attacks. And it also does all sorts of other things that are incredible. And it's simply something that comes from nature that you don't have to worry about.
Wonderful.
I always love the drugs that God makes.
Unless you're going on a date.
Instead of the drugs that man makes. So if you're taking drugs, make sure you take the drugs that God makes.
Hi there, welcome back. Very interesting. Fat does not make you fat, it's the fat in the sugars that make you fat.
That's right, it's when you mix the two together. Think of donuts.
Yes.
Sugar and fat together.
Yeah.
So it's the healthy fats we have to go for. And
Now let's go through the bad fats. They mentioned there about the trans fat. What are trans fats?
well, the trans fats have been hydrolyzed and hydrogenated, so we should definitely not have those. They are one molecule away from plastic, so you can imagine what they do to block the body, and that's the main cause of this huge epidemic of heart disease we've got, that people have literally clogged their arteries with the wrong fats. However, if we eat an avocado or we drink our coconut oil, we're actually giving ourselves the good fats, because the body does need the right fats to feed the brain and feed the rest of the muscles and to give us energy, the ATP, the adenotriphosphate in the body. So we need the right fats.
Let's go through some of the right fats, okay? So let's start off with nuts and seeds. Why are nuts and seeds so good?
Well, God created them for us, and what we've learnt to do is actually to soak them to get rid of the aflatoxins, which are the coating on the outside of the nuts. You think of walnuts and almonds. What I do is I buy them fresh, and then I will actually soak them overnight, and you'll see this amazing brown stuff that's come off them overnight. Now, we would normally have been digesting that, and that is actually a natural sort of poison to keep off the birds from eating the nuts. So when we soak them and then we dehydrate them in the dehydrator to crisp them up again, they're then so delicious and they don't cause indigestion in the body. So that's why we use a dehydrator. And you know, I didn't know about any of this until I went to train, but I was so interested because I love to have crisp nuts, but they had given me indigestion. And once I started soaking and dehydrating them, then I could enjoy them and not have any indigestion.
And what about the oils like fish oil, olive oil, and even coconut oil?
Well, the fish oil you've got to be a little bit careful of now because of the contamination in the sea. The seas are now polluted, so the big fish eat the little fish, and we go up and up the food chain until we get more and more pollutants, because there are areas in the sea now, you know, where they call it, it's just dead water, because we've got plastic floating there, we've got all kinds of revolting stuff, and we have done a program on that actually. So we have to be careful with the fish oils now. The only fish oil that we advise to have is the very small krill oil, because it's the smallest fish.
And why is coconut oil so good?
Ah, well, coconut oil is wonderful, and it's a medium chain fatty acid. It's different to the others. You know, we've had lots of bad press about oils and fats, but in fact we do need to have them. And the coconut oil is wonderful to put on the skin, also to drink. It's anti-inflammatory, it's healing, it's antiviral, it's antifungal, it's antibacterial. So it's a wonderful thing to have in the house, and use it as a medicine, and use it in your cooking. So if you want to heat anything with oil, the coconut oil is the one to use. And then of course olive oil is good as well. That's the good old Mediterranean and Israeli oil. And yes, you know, you make the most beautiful soups if you add a little bit of the oil, either coconut or olive oil, in with the vegetables, so you make a beautiful, beautiful soup, especially good for the winter.
Garlic was described as it's like medicine because it helps to thin the blood and lower cholesterol. Why is garlic so good?
Well, garlic's amazing, and if you ever feel you're fighting a cold, you want to really just eat some garlic, eat some cloves of garlic, keep everybody away, which is an added bonus. And also, you'll just find the next morning that sore throat's completely disappeared. It's amazing.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our next clip. These are the foods that we should and shouldn't be eating, and we should be trying to look for the foods that are without a label. Let's take a look.
So what do we got here? We got some amazing foods. This is another food that has no label.
Yes,
right?
These are some of my favorites.
These are great. Now, if you're hunting and foraging, you want to get to this section here. This
Absolutely.
is the produce section, and it's a section, actually a special part of the produce section, that has the most healing, the most powerful
Without a
medicinal
doubt.
foods, the most detoxifying, anti-inflammatory foods on the market. and they're greens.
Green leafy
Green
vegetables.
collards. There's bok choy. You might go, I never ate that stuff. I don't even know how to cook it. And I remember checking out at the checkout counter in the grocery store, and the woman's like, what is that? I mean,
And lucky you, it's an adventure.
This is another great thing. This is kale, right?
Yes.
Kale.
It's one of my smoothies.
These are, you know, it looks weird, but it tastes great. Make
That's right.
salad out of them, stir fries out of them. And you know what? They're full of folic acid. They're full of magnesium. They're full of B vitamins.
Right.
They're also full of these powerful things that are called glucosinolates, which are powerful detoxifying compounds. You know, Rick talks about detoxification and detoxing your body.
Right.
Well, this is a way to do it by just having more of these foods. And I just buy a whole bunch of this. I stick it in the fridge, lasts for about a week, and then I have it for the week, and I can make a stir fry in about 5 minutes. I take that chopped garlic, I chop this up, I wash it, I throw it in a pan with a little olive oil. In 5 minutes, I have the most delicious greens, and it doesn't take long, and it's quick and easy.
I'm very big into raw foods, and that's why this is my favorite section, because there's so many great things you can do with vegetables and fruits if you just get used to it. And if you don't like to cook, raw foods are a cinch, so very fun.
And we got more things. We got Brussels sprouts, we've got cabbage. You know, cabbage is an old staple, and it's actually one of the broccoli family, and it has great beneficial properties for detoxifying, and it's crunchy and it fills you up. And maybe give you a little gas, but that's all right.
That's right.
You're with your family and friends.
And the red cabbage is so pretty in your salad, so love that one.
Now, what else we got here? We got broccoli, we've got carrots. I mean, anything here goes. If you want to eat, you can eat as much as you want of this. You cannot worry about binging on broccoli.
No
one can get fat on broccoli.
I haven't known too many vegetable addicts, so.
Well, here's another great one, spinach. You know, spinach is good, and it's really easy to make, and it's delicious. It takes probably about 30 seconds to cook. You don't overcook it.
Another great one that's really good to put raw in smoothies. You don't taste it. You don't taste it with the fruit. Sounds gross, tastes great.
So this is all good. And this kind of corn, you know, corn syrup, corn sugar, corn flour, you know, corn oil, these are things that are processed. And you know, most people don't realize that, you know, chicken nugget has about 38 ingredients, about 15 of them are corn. Maltodextrin, corn sugar, corn flour, corn thickeners. You know, we have so much processed corn in our diet, but this kind of corn is okay. You can have corn on the cob. It's delicious, crunchy, and you should enjoy it.
Hi there, viewers. Welcome back. Talk about the foods without the labels, and talking also about the green leafy vegetables. Why is it important for us to go to a supermarket or to a market, a natural market, and eat the green leafy vegetables?
Well, you want to get on the outside of the market, don't you? And where they have all these beautiful fresh vegetables and fruit. That's the best place to do your purchasing. So really important to do the green leafy vegetables because, of course, it's got the calcium and it's got all the living nutrients in it. So that's why the green juices are so good, and you can make them delicious by basing them on cucumber with a little apple, and then add whatever green vegetables you can.
Yeah, just give our viewers some more ideas on juices or smoothies that they could prepare.
Well, the juices are different to the smoothies, as you know. The juices have a juicer that extracts the actual essence of the juice from the pulp, and that's for people who are not well, people who have problems digesting. You're better with the juices. Other people want to blend, and the blending is just literally centrifugal force where it's mixing the whole thing together. So if people can tolerate that, it's fine just to do the blends. And both have a place, both are good for us. Yeah.
And just give our viewers an idea on other raw foods that they can choose.
Okay, well, I love to have the kiwis, I love the nuts, you know, the pecans. We've had pistachios here, and it's lovely to be able to get the really raw things that have grown on trees right outside the garden, you know. And the avocado trees where I live up the hill are just gorgeous, and the avocados are just falling to the ground.
Excellent. Let's take a look at our final clip for today. This is a food advice in your supermarket.
Red bell peppers, these are another staple in my house. We love red bell peppers. And one thing about red bell peppers, people think that you can't get your kids to eat vegetables. There's actually a couple reasons for that. But usually the vegetables you can't get your kids to eat are the dark green ones because they have a little bit of a bitter taste, and until they get older, they don't usually like that. Believe it or not, most other vegetables you can get your kids to eat. Carrots, and red bell peppers. And a lot of you haven't tried this, but you can. These are my daughter's favorite vegetable. We put almond butter on them, her favorite snack at school. The other kids all thought she was weird until she started sharing her snack. So now this is like a favorite at her elementary school. Try it, they'll like it.
Yeah, what else is we got here? Oh, look, we're hunting and we found something else. This root.
Oh, yes, one of my other favorites.
This is amazing. Now, you probably go, what is this? I've never seen this before. This is very weird.
Crazy.
What is this? This is ginger. This is fresh ginger. And it's incredible food. It's powerful anti-inflammatory. You know, most of the diseases of aging and of chronic disease like heart disease and cancer, diabetes, obesity, they're all inflammatory diseases. And this is powerful anti-inflammatory.
And Mark, isn't that good for digestion as well?
It's great for digestion, helps nausea, helps women with pregnancy who are nauseous. And you know what you do? You peel it, you slice it, you put it in stir fries, you put it in soups.
There's another thing that I love to do with ginger, and that is we make a tea out of it. You just hot water, few ginger slices, you just throw it into your tea with some lemon, and you can use just a tiny bit of honey. It's delicious, and it's great for your digestion, and if you're getting a cold, makes your throat feel wonderful.
And here's another great thing. I found one of these. What is this?
Oh.
This. You know, Jamie Oliver did a food show called Food Revolution, and he took a group of kids in Huntington, West Virginia, in a classroom, and he asked them to identify vegetables and fruits, and not one single kid could identify one single vegetable. He gave them this, they said, oh, I think that's a pear. Well, this is an eggplant, okay? This is an eggplant, and what you do with it is up to you, but the way I like to make it is I slice it really thin, and then I put it on a baking sheet. I sprinkle some of that crushed garlic on it, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil. I put it in the oven, 45 minutes later, comes out. It's
Ooh, you're making me hungry.
Delicious, crunchy, and so good.
That's making me hungry.
Now, Tana, this is an amazing find here in this just regular supermarket. It's organic apples. Now, I always say don't eat anything that comes in a bag, a package, or a can, but, you know, a bag of apples, that's okay. And this bag of apples...
Especially if it's organic.
That's right, it's organic. Now, why should you eat organic? Well, some foods have a lot of pesticides which actually cause weight gain, cause cancer, cause heart disease, and many, many other things. So we want to stay away from toxins in our food whenever possible. Now, you can't buy everything organic, and it is a little expensive, but there are some just quick tips you should know. There's an important website. You want to go to EWG.org. That's environmentalworkinggroup.org, EWG.org. And that's an organization that documents the worst offenders in our foods. And they actually have the Dirty Dozen, which are the foods of the 12 worst contaminated foods that you can buy in the supermarket. And you want to avoid those. And then they have the ones that are low on the list. So there's the Healthy Dozen, which you can buy non-organic and be all right with. So I encourage you to go to that website and learn about whether you should buy organic or not.
It's a great resource.
All right.
Hi there, welcome back. Mark mentioned about the Dirty Dozen. What is the Dirty Dozen?
Well, let's go into the Dirty Dozen, absolutely. We've got apples, we've got strawberries, we've got grapes, we've got celery, peaches, spinach, sweet bell peppers, nectarines, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, peas, and potatoes. Isn't that interesting? So they're the ones that are really treated with the pesticides. And you want to know the clean 15?
Please do.
Okay. Avocado. We all love avocado.
Yeah.
Sweet corn, as long as it's not genetically modified, of course. Pineapples, cabbage, frozen sweet peas, onions, asparagus, mangoes, papayas, kiwis, eggplant, grapefruit, cantaloupe, cauliflower, and sweet potatoes. And if people want a tip about trying to wash off some of the contaminants of the Dirty Dozen, you just fill your sink full of water, put in some vinegar, and let it soak for 15 or 20 minutes, and that will take off. You'll be amazed at how much stuff comes off those fruits and vegetables.
Okay, Felicity, we have come towards the end of today's programme. It's gone very, very quick indeed. So thank you very much for joining us today, Felicity. Thank you also to our viewers for joining us. We have covered a number of videos and topics and subjects on today's program. So please do remember, we have a catch-up service on Revelation TV. It's www.revelationtv.com. Remember, we're also on YouTube. It's youtube.com/RTV Europe. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, twitter.com/Revelation TV. Thank you ever so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you same time next time on Revelation TV. God bless. Bye.